The United States Coast Guard uses cutters and small boats on the water, and fixed and rotary wing aircraft in the air. The Coast Guard employs various small arms including handguns, shotguns, rifles, and machine guns. Cutters. Originally, the Coast Guard used the term cutter in its traditional sense, as a type of small sailing ship. Today it officially uses the term for any vessel which has a permanently assigned crew and accommodations for the extended support of that crew, and includes only and all vessels of 65 foot or more in length. Larger cutters in length are controlled by area commands. Smaller cutters come under control of district commands. Cutters usually carry a motor surf boat and/or a rigid-hulled inflatable boat. Polar-class icebreakers carry an Arctic survey boat and landing craft. The Coast Guard formerly leased 3 179-foot Cyclone-class coastal patrol ships from the U.S. Navy. All are home-ported in Pascagoula, Mississippi. These vessels were used primarily for counter-drug patrols. All have now been returned to the Navy. Any Coast Guard crew with officers or petty officers assigned has law enforcement authority and can conduct armed boardings. For a complete list of cutters see, United States Coast Guard cutter and list of United States Coast Guard cutters. Polar-class icebreaker. There are 3 WAGBs, all home-ported in Seattle, Washington. 2 are 399-foot icebreakers, and 1 newer 420-foot icebreaker, the Healy. National Security Cutter, High Endurance Cutter. These are Hamilton-class cutters, 378 feet along the waterline. There are 12 WHECs. Seattle, Washington. Alameda, California. Kodiak, Alaska, 1. San Diego, California. And Honolulu, Hawaii. USCGC Mackinac. The Mackinac is a 240-foot heavy icebreaker built for operations on the North American Great Lakes and home-ported at Sheboygan, Michigan. USCGC Eagle. The Eagle is home-ported at the Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut. It is used for training voyages for Coast Guard Academy cadets and Coast Guard officer candidates. The USCGC Eagle was built in Germany as the Horst vessel, and was taken by the United States as a war reparation in 1945. Offshore Patrol Cutter, Medium Endurance Cutter. These are mostly 210-foot and 270-foot cutters, although 2 mature class cutters fall into the WMEC category. Seagoing buoy tender. There are 16 Juniper-class buoy tenders being commissioned. USCG Coastal Buoy Tender. USCG Katmai Bay-class icebreaking tug. 156-foot Sentinel-class fast response cutter, 110-foot Island-class cutter. There are currently 41 110 squared patrol boats in active duty service in the U.S. Coast Guard. 8 additional 110-foot patrol boats were extended to 123 feet, but structural issues developed shortly after these conversions and the cutters were deemed unsafe to operate. The Coast Guard. As of 2007, the USCG was seeking a $50 million refund from Bollinger Shipyards. 6 of the WPB fleet are assigned to the Patrol Forces Southwest Asia in the Persian Gulf to assist guarding Iraq's waters. 87-foot Marine Protector class cutter. This is a class of 87-foot patrol boats. Aircraft. The Coast Guard operates about 210 aircraft. Fixed-wing aircraft operate from air stations on long-duration missions. Helicopters operate from air stations, air facilities, and flight deck-equipped cutters, and can rescue people or intercept smuggling vessels. Some special MH-designated helicopters are armed with guns and some are equipped with armor to protect against small arms fire. The Coast Guard flies several aircraft types: 27 Lockheed HC-130 Hercules, 35 Sikorsky HH-60J Jayhawk, 102 Airbus MH-65 Dolphin, 8 Augusta MH-68 Stingray, were flown by the Helicopter Interdiction Tactical Squadron based in Jacksonville, Florida until late 2007. 15 CASA HC-144A Ocean Sentry. Another one ordered on January 8, 2013. 2 Gulfstream C-37A aircraft as a VIP transport for high-ranking Coast Guard and Homeland Security officials. an unspecified number of RG-8A Condors. The Coast Guard is planning to purchase 36 CASACN-235 from Spanish aircraft manufacturer Construcciones Aeronáuticas S.A. for medium-range search. As of February 26, 2008, 3 aircraft have been delivered for testing and integration with a further 5 planned. During testing, 1 aircraft was pulled into active duty for the search-downed Air Force pilots, in which the aircraft demonstrated its capabilities. The Coast Guard was to purchase the Bell Eagle Eye UAV as part of the Deepwater program, but this has been cancelled. In addition to regular Coast Guard aircraft, privately owned general aviation aircraft are used by Coast Guard auxiliarists for patrols and search and rescue missions. Boats. The Coast Guard operates about 1,400 boats, defined as any vessel less than 65 feet in length, which generally operate near shore and on inland waterways. The most common is 41 feet long, of which the Guard has more than 200. The shortest is 12 feet. The Coast Guard boat fleet includes Arctic Survey Boat, 52-foot motor lifeboat. The Coast Guard currently has 4 of the 52-foot motor lifeboats, a craft designed from the ground up to serve in challenging surf conditions. All 4 craft are currently assigned to surf stations in the Pacific Northwest. 47-foot motor lifeboat, the Coast Guard's primary heavy-weather boat used for search and rescue as well as law enforcement and homeland security. 41-foot utility boat, a general-purpose boat used for nearly all Coast Guard missions. Deployable pursuit boat, aids to navigation boats, transportable port security boat, 25-foot boat, based on the commercial version of the 25-foot center console Boston whaler. Suitable for work in inland waters, easily transportable by trailer. These are primarily used by port security units for force protection in naval support areas abroad, as well as ports of embarkation-debarkation in expeditionary areas. Most recently these boats and units were deployed to Kuwait in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. The durability, versatility, and mobility of these boats make them ideal for this type of operation. The Coast Guard planned to reduce the inventory of Boston whalers because of the lack of interoperable spare parts. On Friday, July 13, the General Services Administration approved the transfer of 10 Coast Guard boats to the Army in Iraq. The boats, 24-foot and 27-foot Boston whalers with trailers, had an original acquisition cost of more than $800,000. The Army is looking for approximately 55 riverine or patrol-style boats to conduct water interdiction, river denial and island clearance missions, troop transport and insertion on a regular basis. The Coast Guard is providing the Army with the Boston whalers and 1 Ambar boat, a patrol-type vessel. Rigid hull inflatable boat, a rigid-hulled inflatable boat, powered by a gasoline outboard motor or an inboard-outboard diesel engine. The RHI can be easily deployed from a cutter with a 4-point bridle for davit lifting and lowering. The RHI's portability and ruggedness allow it to be used on many kinds of missions. USCG Short Range Prosecutor, a 7-meter launch that can be launched from a rear launching ramp, at speed. USCG Long Range Interceptor, an 11-meter high-speed launch that can be launched from the rear ramps of the larger deepwater cutters. Response Boat Small, a high-speed boat, for a variety of missions, including search and rescue, port security and law enforcement duties. The original 25-foot boats built by Safe Boats International of Port Orchard, Washington are being replaced by 29-foot boats built by Metal Shark Aluminum Boats, LLC of Jeanerette, Louisiana. 45-foot response boat Medium. The Coast Guard has signed a multi-year contract for 180 response boat medium boats that were delivered starting in 2008 to replace the 41 squared UTB boats. These aluminum boats are 45 feet in length, have twin diesel engines, are self-righting, have a 4-crew, 6-passenger capacity, are equipable with 2.50 caliber machine guns, have an excellent fendering system, have a top speed of 42 knots, and are capable of towing a 100-ton vessel in 8-foot seas. The boats were built by Kvikak Marine Industries of Kent, Washington and Marinette Marine of Manitowoc, Wisconsin. There are a number of special-purpose crafts, as follows: 18 feet, 20 feet and 22 feet airboats, 36 feet boarding team delivery, 52 feet heavy weather, 33 feet law enforcement, 42 feet near-shore lifeboat, 24 feet shallow water, 64 feet screening vessel, 38 feet training boat, 39 feet tactical training boat, USCG auxiliary operational facilities. The Coast Guard surface fleet is augmented by privately owned vessels operated by the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Small arms, communications. Coast Guard radio stations cover a wide geographical area using very high-frequency and high-frequency radios. There are 8 major radio stations covering long-range transmissions and an extensive network of VHF radio stations along the nation's coastline and inland rivers. The current communications system is being replaced by Rescue 21. Rescue 21 is an advanced maritime command, control, and communications system. The Omega navigation system and the LORANC transmitters outside the USA were run until 1994 also by the United States Coast Guard, and LORANC transmitters within the U.S. were decommissioned on June 1, 2010. With the exception of 5 CONUS LORANC stations that continue to be manned due to international agreements. See also, Equipment of the United States Army, Equipment of the United States Air Force, Equipment of the United States Navy, Notes.